Darkness fell. Streetlights blinked on, casting long, eerie shadows. 10-year-old Billy sprinted home, leaves crunching underfoot. He glanced over his shoulder, a shiver crawling up his spine. Something felt wrong. He was being watched. Billy reached his porch, fumbling with his keys, heart pounding. He threw open the door, calling for his mum. Silence. A wave of unease washed over him. The house was empty, unusually quiet. Toys lay scattered. Dinner sat half-eaten on the table. Where was his mother? Panic swelled in his chest. He searched every room, calling her name, his voice trembling. No answer. He found a note on the refrigerator, scrawled in shaky handwriting. Gone for groceries. Be back soon. But something about it felt off. The words seemed forced, hurried. Fear tightened its grip. He ran to the window, peering into the deepening darkness. Nothing. Only the rustling of leaves and the distant bark of a dog. His mother was gone. Vanished. Days turned into weeks. Police searched, neighbours whispered. Hope dwindled. Billy, consumed by guilt and fear, clung to the memory of his mother's warmth. Sleep offered no escape, haunted by nightmares of shadowy figures and muffled screams. One afternoon, a faded photograph slipped from his mother's diary. It showed a small wooden cabin nestled deep in the woods, sunlight dappling through the trees. On the back, a handwritten note. Our Sanctuary, 1984. A desperate idea bloomed in Billy's mind. Ignoring the warnings of police and neighbours, he ventured into the woods. The path was overgrown, barely visible beneath fallen leaves. He pressed on, driven by a desperate hope. The air grew colder, dampness clinging to his skin. He could hear his own breath, ragged and loud. Finally he stumbled into a clearing. There it stood, the cabin from the photo, windows boarded shut, paint peeling, an air of abandonment hung heavy. He approached cautiously, a knot of dread twisting in his stomach. This place felt wrong. This place felt dangerous. He knocked, the sound echoing through the silence. No answer. He tried the doorknob. Locked. He peered through a crack in a boarded window. Dust motes danced in a shaft of sunlight. The musty air hung thick and heavy. He felt a cold, unseen presence watching him. Suddenly, a sound. A faint scratching from within. He pressed his ear to the door, holding his breath. The scratching came again, followed by a muffled thump. His heart hammered against his ribs. Someone was inside. He threw his weight against the door. It wouldn't budge. Panic surged, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He scanned the clearing, searching for something, anything to use as a lever. His eyes fell on a rotting log, half buried in the dirt. Heaving with all his might, he wedged the log beneath the door handle. The wood creaked, groaned, then splintered. The door burst open. He stumbled inside into the suffocating darkness. The smell hit him first, damp earth, decaying wood, something sickly sweet. The cabin's interior was shrouded in a thick, unsettling gloom. Cobwebs hung from every corner. Furniture lay covered in dust sheets, the air thick with the weight of forgotten memories. Each step he took echoed through the oppressive silence. He found her in the back room, tied to a chair, her eyes wide with terror. But it wasn't his mother. It was a woman, her face pale and gaunt, her lips cracked and dry. She looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and desperation. He rushed to her, fumbling with the ropes that bound her. Her hands were ice cold, her voice a dry rasp. "He's coming back," she whispered, her eyes darting to the boarded-up window. "He's coming for you too." He found a letter clutched in her hand, the paper stained and crumpled. It was addressed to Billy's mother. "He's been watching you," it read. "He's been watching you for years. He knows your secrets. He knows your fears." Terror gripped Billy's heart. He helped the woman to her feet, her legs shaky and weak. They had to escape, had to get out of this godforsaken place before he returned. But who was he? And what did he want with his mother? They stumbled out of the cabin into the fading light. The woods seemed to press in on them, the shadows deepening, the air growing colder. He could hear every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, imagining unseen eyes watching their every move. They followed a barely discernible trail, pushing through tangled undergrowth, their breath catching in their throats. They had to get to the road, had to find help, but the woods seemed endless, a labyrinth of trees and shadows. Suddenly, a light flickered in the distance. A car's headlights cut through the gloom, growing brighter as it approached. Hope surged through Billy, a lifeline in the suffocating darkness. They ran towards the light, their legs screaming in protest. The car screeched to a halt. A man jumped out, his face etched with concern. He recognized Billy from the missing person posters. Relief washed over him, a wave of exhaustion and disbelief. They were safe, but as the man approached, Billy noticed something. A glint of something cold and hard in his hand. A knife. The man's smile faltered, replaced by a chillingly familiar expression. The expression from the letter, the expression from his nightmares. "I've been waiting for you, Billy," the man said, his voice a low, menacing purr. "Your mother sent me. She knew you'd come here. She knew you'd find me." The words struck Billy like a physical blow. His mother. She had sent this man. She had led him into this trap. The woman from the cabin stared at him, her eyes wide with a terrible understanding. It was all a lie, a cruel, twisted game. The truth was a suffocating darkness closing in on him, consuming him. He was trapped, a pawn in a game he didn't understand. And the only other player was the monster standing before him, smiling a smile of pure, unadulterated evil.